All right, guys, welcome to another interview for Startup Without Burnout. I've got Dr. Jacob Hyde here. He's a doctor of chiropractic and board-certified holistic healthcare practitioner. He specializes in functional nutrition and bioenergetic synchronization technique, which if you don't know what it is, you will by the end of this, and it is insane. He's passionate about natural healing and is dedicated to his mission of teaching others how to take charge of their own health. Which is actually kind of putting the medical community on its toes and flipping it around a little bit. So he was born and raised in Tempe, Arizona. Fell in love with Dallas, but we stole him over here for West Palm Beach, and now he is a good friend of mine, and he's been treating me also. So I couldn't wait to get him on here and expose you all to a little bit more about what they're doing. So Jake, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Alex. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. So I'm going to just jump right into the questions, and just for the viewers that have kind of been watching and seeing all of us do all of these interviews, I'm just letting you know this is third time's the charm with Jake. He's been very patient. We've actually done this interview, at least a quarter of it, 3 times because of shoddy internet. So, you know, we have issues with startups too. So I'm just letting you know. All right. So, Jake, how did you know you were destined to be an entrepreneur in the first place?
Well, there's a lot of ways I can answer this. I guess technically I'm proving it. This third time.
Third time.
But ultimately, it comes down to what I wanted and what I thought that I could do every day and still love my life and be energized when I come home. Because the jobs I had right under undergrad, I'd come home exhausted and kind of beaten down and just questioning what I did for 8 to 12 hours, depending on which job I had. And I saw my dad run a business growing up and saw the benefits of him being an entrepreneur and like the freedoms that you got to enjoy from running a successful company. But my dad basically, he saw a need that needed to be fulfilled and then started a business that could make money, but he didn't love what he did. And ultimately, I wanted to love what I did every day. And so I was looking for a couple criteria. I was looking for to fill a need that wasn't there, so something that the society would benefit from, and then something that would give me freedom to where I could still pursue my other interests. So I didn't want a job that ran my life. I wanted a job that's, supported my life. And then ultimately, I needed to go home at the end of the day knowing that I did something net positive for the community. I didn't take from it, I gave something to it. And I figured if I could find something that fit those categories, then I would go home every day feeling great about what I did and feeling energized. And it took me a little while to figure it out, but ultimately it was in natural healing and it was in running my own little clinic. So kind of became organic. Didn't know this from the beginning. It just kind of grew into itself.
Very cool. So then how did the path start, and how did you become a business owner as opposed to going into the industry and working in a group or with other chiropractors? Or because you're not just a chiropractor, and I want to get that very, very, very clear. And there's nothing wrong with just, I don't mean to say just, because chiropractors are incredibly talented, but you bring such a cool angle to everything. And I just want the viewers to understand where you come from and what it is that you're trying to do and what your mission is and why you're leaving the community net positive.
Okay.
And
so, Alex. Yeah. How did that question start off? Well, I think what it comes down to is I would have probably happily joined another clinic. Would have been easier, probably would have saved me a lot of heartache and stress, but I didn't see a clinic that I wanted to join, what it came down to. I knew, having worked for a couple different chiropractors, seeing like positives and negatives of it, but knowing that this is ultimately how I wanted to spend my day, and this is ultimately how I wanted to treat patients. And I didn't see a model where that existed, and so really it was built out of necessity. I kind of had to, in order for me, like I said earlier, to fulfill those categories I wanted. So it didn't exist, so I had to kind of make it.
That's awesome. So when did you sort of get that stride where you felt like you were being successful and you had gotten to the point where you're on your own, you're able to support your lifestyle, all of that?
So I started feeling successful when I knew I had a good product. So a good thing about what I do is I get immediate feedback from the people I work with. So once I started seeing some dramatic results and seeing people who really got their lives back. So these were people that have told me they'd been seeing doctors or specialists for years, managing symptoms, just kind of getting through life. And then very quickly, in some cases, first visit, everything changed for them. And my measure of success at this phase of the business is just delivering the goods, which we've been doing. So people have been very satisfied, and a lot of them thrilled, and even in some cases kind of bewildered about things they didn't think were possible at this point. Because like I said, a lot of them had seen specialists. A lot of them had been just struggling to kind of get by and feel okay, and to have their symptoms completely go away, to be able to have the freedom to go off medications that they thought they'd have to be on for a long time, just to live pain-free, have energy, and sleep through the night. That's how I knew I was successful, delivering the goods.
I like it. And guys, I just want to let you know, I have actually been to Jake as a patient of his or a client of his, and it's absolutely true. It is amazing what he is able to channel into and create with knowing very, very little about what that person's been going through, and he can actually pay attention to the body and how the body is communicating with his questions and with his expertise, and really like dial in exactly what he needs to do. So it's really, really cool. But based on a business standpoint, because our viewers are here for the business side and understanding what it takes to be in a startup or what it takes to run a successful business, what do you feel is the best action step that our viewers could take if they're thinking about starting their own business or doing something that is heart-centered and something that is going to grow what they've got now?
Okay, so this is a question to people thinking about starting a business, essentially?
Or if they're already in a business, how they can start growing.
Okay. I was going to say the most important thing for me was making sure that I loved what I was doing. Because if I started doing it as how am I going to make money? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? Then I started seeing people as dollar signs. And there was a time early on when I was tempted, because obviously you start a business, you got to produce income, right? But I noticed when I was seeing people as dollar signs versus seeing them as real people that came to me for some kind of help, then I saw the business taper off a little bit. So what was really important is making sure you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, making sure you're passionate, and making sure you know the reason why you're doing it ultimately, okay? Because making money is a good reason to have business, but there's got to be a why behind the money, right? There's got to be a why am I getting up every day? Why am I pouring in extra effort? Why am I going when, like, why do I keep going when it gets hard? Because for the most part, starting a business is a very difficult thing to do. So if you don't love it and if you're not enthusiastic about it, it's going to be really easy to get burnt out. It's going to be really easy to just want to quit and fold. And I think a lot of businesses do, because they can't get through that couple years of just, it's very difficult. And if you don't know the why behind it, I think it'll be easy to get lost.
That would be So question for you then, because I know you're super healthy and you're all about, making it not exactly necessary to deal with Western medicine all the time. Most successful people have some sort of a routine that they follow on a regular basis. Do you have anything like that you would be willing to share?
Yeah, routines are really important. And I'm kind of, I guess I'm my guinea pig. So I could tell you I've tried dozens of routines to see what works. Because you can ultimately listen to the health gurus and try and emulate what they do. And I'm sure that there would be value in that, but ultimately you have to do what works best for you. So ideally, on like an ideal work-a-day routine, it's very important to start the day the right way. So this is my ideal routine. It's getting up hours before you have to go to work. So I mean, if you have like that 7 a.m. job, maybe that's not doable for you. But you want to get up hours before. And what I like to do is, first things first, start thinking about gratitude. Because gratitude is the neutralizing emotion for things like fear, worry, concern, stress. So if I start my day immediately checking emails or even just Facebook, Instagram, I can already start like the stress programs through the day. So instead, I think about what I'm grateful for. Think about a person I'm grateful for. I think about an opportunity for the day. I think about something happened the day before. Start doing those programs. And then I have like a daily affirmation that I like to say. And then ultimately, I like to do something active. So I like to move. So whether that's working out in the gym, or my favorite thing is to go walk along the water. I moved out here to Florida, so I take advantage of the natural beauty around. So my ideal day, gratitude, some kind of activity, getting some motion into my body, and then nutrients matter. So for me, if I don't eat the right breakfast, my day is not very good as far as like my ability to treat others, my ability to think. So for me, that's having something. Well, sometimes there are certain days when I fast. So if I go for a walk, I might fast through breakfast. A lot of benefits of intermittent fasting, which we could get into. But otherwise, if I exercise, I'm going to go something high fat and with some good quality protein. So I'm going to go avocado with an egg, or a couple of fried eggs, or there's even a lot of people have heard of like butter coffee or bulletproof coffee, which is a really good way to start the day. Have you heard of that, Alex? Is that bulletproof?
It was.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Yep.
So my brain likes to run off fat, and also I need sustained energy throughout the day because I used to have a blood sugar problem. So I would have a big breakfast and then be hungry and lethargic and grumpy by like noon.
Did you get hangry?
Oh yeah. I wasn't pleasant in those situations. So starting my day using fat as fuel gives me sustained energy and mental clarity to where I function evenly throughout the day. And then, in the evening is when I have like my bigger meals with more carbohydrate. But yeah, during the day, I'm really careful about what I eat because it directly affects how I function.
So I love the fact that your routine is health, like, fitness and food centered, and obviously the gratitude and the mantra and the affirmations. And then some of the other people that I've interviewed are much more like systems based routines. So it's actually really cool to hear all of the successful habits that all of these crazy successful entrepreneurs are using and utilizing. And it's really neat to see that medically centered, health focused frame of mind coming through, and that's neat to hear. And I think it's going to benefit quite a bit of the people viewing.
Yeah, the point of the morning is to set yourself up to be your best self during the day. So that's really my focus. And so there's a lot of variation I have in my morning, but it's ultimately a plan to be my best self. And then nighttime routine is also important because nighttime routine sets you up for your best sleep. And I don't have to dote on the benefits of sleeping because I think we all know sleeping is good. But nighttime routine, also important. A lot of people don't think about that.
So then moving from your routine, then, what's the one thing that would prevent like burnout, especially coming from your perspective, since you basically tell people or reprogram people's bodies to understand how to overcome things like fear, burnout, instances in their past. So what is the one thing that would prevent burnout in a startup in the first place?
I have to pick one thing.
I mean, just one. Just, if it's two, it's fine.
So many things. I would say this, because part of me wants to go nutrition route, because that really fortifies you to be stress resistant. But I want to say, I'm going to use the answer of mindfulness. So this is the idea of being aware of what your mind's doing, or I should say, also like present time consciousness. So as humans, we love dwelling on the past, right? With negative emotions such as unforgiveness, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, etc. We kind of replay these things, driving us into this, you'd say, stress mode. And then we also like to forecast things in the future, anxiety, worries, concerns, things like that. So we spend a lot of our day exhausting our systems and utilizing resources for present need issues. So if you want to not burn out in a stressful thing, because here's the deal, life is inherently stressful, and we also do not grow without stress. So we need stress. We have this symbiotic relationship with it, but you want to minimize unnecessary stresses so you can focus on the ones that are necessary. So what I mean is, don't waste your mind energy on brain trash, essentially. So that's twofold. The trash we create by thinking about all these problems that aren't problems of the present, and then also by just filling our heads with gunk, like stuff we get in the media, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. These aren't the escapes we think they are. They actually drive us into stress physiology. This is measurable. We can see this. So if you want to be able to have the resolve to deal with functional stress, the stress we need, then minimize the unnecessary stuff. So take, like I said, put your hands back on the wheel and be able to, have control now of where you go. Because if you're not in control, you will veer off. Your mind's going to go into bad places for sure.
It's going to go into bad places.
It will.
So, all right. So if you could tell our listeners to do only one thing, because mindset, health, being conscious of all of that, and the cool thing is that your business is based on that and based on the mindset and based on the health, which is really cool. But if you could tell our viewers to do one thing to grow their business, what would it be? And guys, just he's a networking genius. The man knows everybody there is to know, and he's humble about it. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna say there's a lot of business school answers for this. So I'm gonna say something probably you don't learn in school, and that is the number one thing to grow your business is be kind. Be a likable person. People like doing business with people they like to be around. Mm-hmm. So you could either be, there's a couple ways I'm told to be successful, and you could either be incredibly talented, or you could just be likable. Some of us aren't just born incredibly talented, but we can all choose to be kind, right? That's a choice. So there's a Mr. Rogers quote I'm reminded of. There's 3 steps to success. Three options to success. 1 is to be kind, 2 is to be kind, 3 is to be kind. So
you just quoted Mr. Rogers.
The guy's a genius. What can I say? He's brilliant. But yeah, that's the truth. Is just be a person you'd want to do business with.
That's awesome. So, all right, I'm super excited about this interview. I'm really, really proud of you. I mean, on a friend level and on a level of seeing your business flourish. And I think you're also going to be able to be dropping a lot of knowledge on the people that are watching. So later on tonight, we're going to be sending out a link to a gift that you're going to be providing to everybody that they can opt in for. Can you just sort of talk about what that is and what it entails? Because I know it has to do with that health consciousness.
It does. So what it is, it's a free gift of a 7-day health challenge. So I think it has a different approach than maybe other challenges people would have. Not that those aren't good; they're all very good. This one is just has a different approach, because the idea of this isn't to like become healthy in 7 days. And the truth is, health isn't really like a checkbox. You're healthy, yes or no. Health is a journey. It exists on a continuum. So you're either moving towards more health or moving towards more like sickness and disease. You're doing that throughout the day with all your little micro decisions that you're making. So the point of this challenge is really to try and get to the root of certain belief systems driving negative behavior and negative choices, and start making better decisions for yourself. So the challenge is really set up for decisions, not for like just whatever, eat these things or do these exercises. It's about learning how to retrain your mind, so you can choose your responses to life instead of just react to everything, I guess.
So it's like adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, because ultimately, like I said, or you said in the intro, my mission is really to empower people to take care of themselves. I really think that's the plan. That's everyone's highest good. And being dependent on outside things is, at the end of the day, exhausting and unhealthy for you. So you want to take control. And so truth is, a lot of people already know ways to take care of themselves, or they know healthier behaviors, but they're not doing it necessarily. So this is a 7-day challenge to start thinking about health differently.
Cool. Well, Dr. Hyde, thank you so much for being here and for that gift, because I think that's awesome. And I think a lot of business managers, entrepreneurs, and business owners, they don't pay attention to their own health and their own mindset enough. So I think that's probably a priceless gift, really, once they're able to do that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this. And if you guys need any more information, I will be sending a link out shortly.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Bye.
Bye.